Welcome to Smash Writing, and today we are kicking off an idea.
7-year idea.
I just hope it's not as bad as your
My
previous
idea.
previous 2 year long idea.
Well, you know what? As opposed to the Bond one, we're kicking off hot.
Yeah, that's all right. Go ahead.
But just for context, we're reviewing all of the DC animated movies for your pleasure.
And starting off today is Batman.
Mask of the Phantasm.
All right, get to it.
We start up with a banger of an opener. I mean, that song that kicks off here should not have been as hard as it was. My God, was it good though. We open up to a casino. This gang is trying to run counterfeit cash through it, and Batman interrupts. One guy gets away. He flees. And
Chucky Lee.
Chucky Lee. Chucky Lee. But he ends up running into the Mask of the Phantasm, who's much more murdery than Batman is. And he drives off of the parking garage to get away from the Phantasm. Batman makes it there, but the Phantasm is gone and the guy is dead. And he finds a bit of glass with a bit of residue on it, so he takes it with him. But the councilman the next day is already blaming Batman. Gordon is like, no, this is not Batman. But he's running with this with the press. And then you got sarcasm is on point with Alfred in this. And he made the comment, he's like, you are the pinnacle of sanity. Just so you know, I've cleaned your spandex and I hung up your smoke bombs.
Yeah.
Bruce is already running tests on the residue, but we see that there's a mystery woman flying into Gotham. Andrea. And we see Bruce at a party. He is surrounded by women getting attention, except for one woman who throws her drink in his face. Because he forgot to call her. He didn't call her back.
Typical.
And he meets up with the councilman who reminds him of Andrea. And they kind of shove that handkerchief there, buddy. And we get a flashback to when he met Andrea at the cemetery. When he was visiting his parents, he overhears her talking to her mother's grave. And there's kind of sparks between the two of them, but she drives off. And we see him out on his first vigilante trip. And it's really weird. It doesn't go great. He's in a ski mask and he's talking to people.
And he's more of a criminal lookalike than the criminals themselves.
Yeah. And it really sets into him that he needs to become something more fearful. Because they're not afraid of him.
Yeah, that's what he was preaching to Alfred. He's like, they're not afraid of me, Alfred. I want them to be afraid of me. Well, you're looking like one of them.
While he's discussing it with Alfred, Andrea shows up. And she wants to know why he didn't call her. It's like, you didn't give him your number. But I guess Andrea Belmont back then, you could have looked her up in the phone book.
Well, yeah, because she wasn't her dad's a high.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of like how like when every time Bruce Wayne, even in this, like introduced himself, everybody goes, "We know who you are."
He gets snapped back to the present though, and Alfred has to come tell him that Bambi is dancing on the piano. And we see Guy Bronski is visiting Chucky Soul's cemetery grave when the Phantasm arrives again, and he takes him out with a statue. His goons only see the Phantasm from a distance, though, and they think it's Batman. And that's what gets put in the papers, that Batman's going crazy, and we see an older man, Sal, is starting to panic over this. Because the idea that Batman is coming after these people, and they're all his former associates, he's in a panic. Gordon, meanwhile, is sticking up for Batman. He's like, nope, this is wrong, and flat out tells Arthur, hey, if you want to go after Batman, you be my guest. I am staying out of this. And we don't see Gordon again. But Arthur tries to bait Batman in with the bat signal, but it doesn't work. He's at the cemetery, he finds more residue. And most importantly, he sees Andrea again. And Andrea spots him seeing the Wayne tomb, and she puts one and one together and comes up with Bruce.
Like how ironic, like both of their family tombs and graves are like literally right there.
Yeah. And Batman ends up following her, and he sees that Arthur is meeting Andrea over dinner. They start having a moment together, and that sends him onto a flashback to when they were dating. And everything is going good, but we actually start to see we see what will become the Batmobile later on at the one place they're visiting. He's agreed to meet her dad, and off they go. And it goes pretty well, but there's a mob boss that shows up, and it kind of sparks between the two of them. And when they make it outside, there's a group of guys who are trying to rob this like the corner vendor kind of deal. Bruce fights them, but they do get away with the cash. That puts him in an even worse mood about it. And we find that he's getting frustrated because he's reached an intersection where he doesn't know if he can be Batman and be a family man with Andrea at the same time. But he's sworn into this promise he made as a kid to his parents, and he goes to the grave and he has a magnificent monologue where he wasn't prepared to be happy. That was not a part of the plan. And he's begging his parents to release him from the vow. And that's when Andrea shows up and they hug and everything. And we go back to the present. Arthur is picked up by Sal, who's losing it. Batman, meanwhile, is at Sal's building investigating, and he sees a picture of Sal and his comrades, including Andrea's dad. That flashes back to Bruce proposing to Andrea. And that proposal is interrupted by a family of bats shooting up out of this cavern from the ground. And he takes her home, and she sees that there's a meeting going on with her dad and some of his businessmen. But Bruce drops her off, and he goes about his business. And the next day he's exploring the cave, and he remarks about how big this cave is. And that's when Alfred shows up, and he's got the ring that he gave Andrea. And Andrea says that she has to leave with her dad to Europe and to forget about her. And that night is the first night he puts on the bat suit and everything, and the cave becomes the Bat Cave. Meanwhile, Sal, I just wanted to make sure. I thought I knew where I was going. I just wanted to make sure. Sal has gone to the one person he knows who can help him, and that is the Joker. And it doesn't go well for him. The Joker agrees to help him, and then hits him with the Joker gas. So that night when the Phantasm breaks into Sal's place, Sal has been Jokerized, and there's a camera there. And the Phantasm barely makes it out of the window before the bomb goes off. Batman arrives also. He's chasing after the Phantasm, and there's a brief fight, but the police show up. The Phantasm manages to disappear, but Batman's chased by the cops. He just barely manages to escape with the help of Andrea, who shows up. And they have a conversation, and we learn that the mob was pressing the dad for the money owed, and they had to flee in the middle of the night to get away from it.
Because they were rich, but it was through investment, so it wasn't like straight cash in the bank.
They've been hiding throughout Europe, and the dad is the Phantasm trying to put an end to the mob and the debt. So, Batman is, when she leaves, Batman's studying the picture, and when it dawns on him that the Joker was also in the picture. Before he was the Joker, he was one of the people in this group. And then we see the Phantasm showing up to where the Joker is. And a fight ensues there for very briefly. And it turns out the Phantasm is Andrea. And that her dad was killed by the mob whenever Arthur gave him up. Because he kept in contact with Arthur all along. So Batman comes in. He manages to save her before she's sucked into a fan. And tells her to just leave. And him and Joker go at it. And Andrea shows up and grabs the Joker, but won't leave, and holds them into the explosion. It goes off. And you see Bruce mourning her later in the Batcave, but then he spots the locket, suggesting that she is still alive. And she is sailing away on a boat, never to be seen again, because they never use this character again.
Yeah,
this is like one off. They don't bring her back. They don't bring her back for the comics.
And you know what? I think that's part of the magic there.
Yeah, that's a charming thing to the fact that there is a one and done in comics in this world.
First off, you have Batman being engaged to this person, Andrea. So
or Batman being engaged to someone that's not named Selena.
Yeah. So you have that. So first and foremost, there's nothing that I can't say I don't like about this.
Well, the dichotomy, too, of Bruce and Andrea, each seeking revenge for what happened to their parents, but each of them going the different direction.
Ways, yeah.
And how easily it could be for Batman to go that route, too, and become
and Alfred made towards at the end, it's like, hey,
I worry about you falling off that ledge all the time.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Andrea, she did that years ago. You're not going to help her. This was her mission.
Well, even do how similar the Phantasm is to Batman, each of them being the black gowns and everything, the cape design.
The only thing I didn't understand about that whole get up there is, why did she use a claw or whatever for her?
Slashing weapon.
Okay, okay. But the way it was designed.
Well, she also said I'm the angel of death, so it's a sickle.
Okay.
The Reaper.
Okay. First off, this film got made between season 1 and 2 of the Batman animated series, from 92 to 95. Not many people know, but that's one of my favorite animation series of all time.
Well, I mean, so many of us who grew up with that show.
Well, I don't care. That's still to this day. Like, there's like that Scooby-Doo, like, of the 70s. Like,
the animation is so good in the series.
Yeah.
So good. The work on the characters in this show.
I love
the movie is.
I love the character arcs. I love the surprise that it's Andrea that is, this killer here, basically. I love that they tied in the Joker of keeping him with Batman's past that he just didn't know. I love seeing Batman from the start, and wanting to not just be Batman but be scarier. I love the love story.
The Kevin Connery monologue at his parents' grave was magnificent.
Absolutely, the writing, the dialogue, the graphics, the themes, the music, like it was all.
I like that. Like I said, that intro at the beginning is no reason to go that hard. None.
I don't, like I says, I'm not gonna say nothing bad about it. It's based off the one of my favorite animation series of growing up.
And for those wondering, I wanted to have this on our definitive Batman list. We did for ranking Batman movies about a year or so back. I want to know why wasn't that on the list there,
because
Paul?
it was live action. There is a different standard.
This went to theater. This was in.
It was not
theater.
Live action. They could do more in this film, and they did do more.
This did more than most of the Batman movies.
You like Batman and Robin film? Shut up.
It's better than Batman vs Superman.
I think it's a no-brainer what grade we're giving it.
Oh, S tier.
I don't give out S's too much, but the themes, the writing, the character arcs, the graphics, the tone, the dialogue, the tone of it too, the areas that they touched upon with death and families and love.
How will you live for your loved ones?
And that's the thing. Like, Batman gets even torn because, like, did his mom and dad want him to have a family and carry on the family name, or did they want him to go out and protect Gotham?
Yeah.
We'll never know, and neither will he. So he's always conflicted. S movie.
Yeah.
I think I only gave out like 4 S movies since we've been doing this, and this is the 4th one. So, good start.
This is my first one since last month.
My first one in like 8 months, but yours.
Abigail was so.
Here we go again with that. I think it's almost like a tradition now. He's never going to put on vibrate.
You're never going to change it either.
No. S tier. What is the next one?
I don't know.
Okay.
Quick, just talk to people. No quiet time.
Oh, yeah, no quiet time. There you go.
DC and.
But yeah, this 7-year run that we are going to be on kicks off with a bang. How many more are going to be S tiers? I do not know, because up to a certain point, I haven't actually watched
Batman and Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero will be next.
Okay. Now, funny thing is, I'm going to wonder if that plays into the Batman animated series one as well.
Yeah.
So, we might have 2 bangers like right off the bat here.
Yes.
So, until next time, bye-bye.